So sometimes when I do these videos, I end up doing them again, right? I'll go all the way through them and then I'll realize I could do it better. I've formulated my thoughts. Let's just start over again. I just did that. I just created a video. It was like 18 minutes long, but it wasn't necessarily for that reason. Although I think it'll be better because I've already had a dress rehearsal essentially. But it was because the sound was totally distorted. It just did not sound good, and I realized maybe I'm getting a little rusty because I have not done one of these videos in a little while. And so yeah, I'm starting again on this. I did 20 videos in a row in May as part of the Instagram May Vinyl Challenge. I thought, oh, let's take it a step further and let's do a video every single day. I burnt out on it. And so I have not been as active since then as I was, although I feel like I'm getting my mojo back and I want to be doing videos more. And part of that is because it is actually nice in Seattle. I live outside Seattle, kind of between Seattle and Tacoma. But I moved from the Bay Area, and I'm not a Bay Area native. Anybody that watches this channel probably knows, I talk about Minneapolis a lot. I lived there for a long time, college and afterwards. But I lived in the Bay Area for, I think, combined like 5.5 years, in Oakland most of the time. So when I was thinking about moving to Seattle, I thought, Seattle, because it's also on the West Coast, and I visited there, and it was always super nice. Always very sunny and beautiful. That, yeah, they got more rain, but, it's going to be like Oakland when it rains. It's pretty warm. It's just a light rain. There's never any downpour, People they don't bother with umbrellas, so yeah, that's what I thought, like an Oakland rain. No big deal. No, it's more like Minneapolis. It's winter here, rain here, gray here, clouds here are very, very serious business, and is nothing like going for a little walk in my Oakland neighborhood with a light sprinkle. It's cold. It's that wet cold that makes you just want to hibernate, like you're living in Minneapolis with snow. So very, very similar. I feel like it's more similar to Minneapolis than it is to San Francisco or Oakland. Especially Oakland. San Francisco, you could say, yeah, they have gray weather too. Yeah, do you know what the caveat is? If you're in San Francisco, you get in your car or you take BART and you go over the bridge and you're like 10 miles away and it's sunny and it's super nice. So you want to do that here? You're in the car for a couple hours, if you're lucky. All that's to say that when summer comes here and when it's finally nice and you can finally look at the weather predictions, half the time they're completely wrong, but if you look at it and all you see is sun for the next 7 days maybe, or you just see rain maybe one of those days, you finally think, we're to that point of the year where people want to come here, tourists, and it's beautiful, and you can see the mountains. They're not hidden anymore, and you want to go and do things, and it's just an absolutely beautiful place. So it is that way when you can see it and when you can get out and enjoy it. But all that's to say for me that when it's nice like this, I start thinking about records and what sounds good on the turntable. And we had guests last weekend, and there was one day that was really nice, and we were talking about that. And one of the records that came up, just that we wanted to play, and it just would have fit in perfectly. I think we just ran out of time or played other things and had an unexpected party also in there. But anyway, we were going to play this record, and this is Transmissions from Satellite Heart by the Flaming Lips. This is the record that got me into the Flaming Lips. I don't think I had really heard of them before this record. Just moved to Minneapolis. I was 21 years old. I am transferring in from a state school in Wisconsin to the University of Minnesota. I find this apartment. It's like this old brownstone in Dinkytown, and which is really, it's essentially where a lot of students live. That or Stadium Village, a place called Stadium Village. Oh, I knew myself well enough at 21 that I wasn't going to live in Stadium Village. So yeah, Dinkytown, where Dylan used to play. In fact, that place is, at least when I lived there, the Purple Onion was still there. I don't know if it is now. That was a coffee shop that I guess he used to play in. And across the street where he lived was a drugstore at the time. I haven't checked recently what's there now. Anyway, I paid $275 a month for this apartment. It was essentially a big room with a bathroom. The caveat with the bathroom, it was shared with the person next to me. So you had to kind of knock on your door. If you didn't hear anything, you're safe to go in. You could have the option of like taking a little hook lock and locking the other person's door while you did your business in there. We both didn't, I think because we were both afraid that, we'd forget to unlock it. So that was an interesting, kind of thing that I have never done since. But I had it was pretty much just a big open room. It had a folding or French doors that would go into a little kitchen, like the tiniest stove you've ever seen, and a little tiny sink. And then in the corner, right, like when you walked in, was a refrigerator. And then the bed was a Murphy bed that you pulled down from the wall. And this is kind of weird to think about now, but it was not a furnished apartment, but the Murphy bed came with it. Yeah, I don't know. I never got bed bugs or anything. And I don't know, when you're 21, your standards are a little different, whatever. But it worked out for me. And I lived there for not that long, actually. I don't even think I was there a year before I wasn't. Because there's some people there that had some real challenging mental issues. And basically, I always wondered if I was going to return to the place and find it burnt to the ground. There was a lot of not so good stuff going on there. Anyway, when I first moved in, somebody I think signed me up for some cable package, and I had this thing called DMX, which is like Muzak. It's what a lot of restaurants would use. They have several different channels, not a DJ type thing, similar to satellite radio, but like never a DJ. It was just all one song after another, and pretty new at the time, I thought, or pretty new to me, was whatever receiver thing they gave me had the display of like who the artist was, what the song title was, and what the album was called. And one of the first songs I remember hearing, and I had this playing, and it was kind of playing the, I don't know, alternative hits of the day. It must have been like some alternative channel. Was "Turn It On" by the Flaming Lips, and I always like perked up when I heard that, and I really, really liked it. It just seemed really quirky and interesting and fun, and I always felt I was kind of depressed when I moved there. I was actually very depressed when I moved there. I felt uplifted by it. I felt really good by that song, and I think I might have heard "She Don't Use Jelly" on that channel too. It definitely didn't stand out as being any better than "Turn It On" or anything, and I had not seen the video, and I don't think it had taken off yet. But I ended up buying the record and absolutely loved it, and I always think of it as being just such a positive, fun, quirky record. I mean, you got songs like, "When You're 21" and "Slow Nerve Action," which is great. Features Stevens really kind of coming into his own as a drummer on this. I think it might have been the first record, maybe the second that he was drummer on, but he had some influence as well on the songwriting on this. And it's just such a like good record. Superhumans is on here. I haven't looked at the back of it. I'm gonna pause this for a second without revealing what's behind this, so I can check the track listing very quickly. Oh yeah, "Be My Head," "Plastic Jesus." I mean, just fun, original kind of band. Maybe not the first lineup, but it was a core lineup. They put on great rock shows. I saw them at Lollapalooza 4 on a side stage on this tour, and then saw him at least once on Clouds Taste Metallic, which came out like a year or two later. And then there were boombox experiments I went to, and then Zerika comes out, and then all of a sudden their guitarist Ronald is gone, and I see him they come out with the Soft Machine, which completely blew me away. It was not what I was expecting. This orchestrated, just gorgeous record. And, I see him live, and it's no longer like a rock band. Steven's parts were pre-programmed. You'd see him drumming on a video screen, but he was doing so much more than that. But anyway, I've always loved the part with Flaming Lips when they were just a core rock band too. And this record and Clouds Taste Metallic especially. They're also, while we're on the subject of Flaming Lips, I also think they have 4 killer records in a row. They're one of those bands that you can say, from Transmissions from the Satellite Heart, Clouds Taste Metallic, Soft Bulletin, and Yoshimi Battles of Pink Robots. They're 4 killer records, 4, I would say, masterpieces in a row. Plain lips. Okay, next. Prince. I like Prince a lot, and I've been probably listening to Prince more in the last year than I have in quite a while. I bought Controversy, a record that I never knew nearly as well as Dirty Mind or 1999 or Purple Rain or Around the World in a Day. I tend to really like the period of Prince, like right after Purple Rain. Like, I love Around the World in a Day. I love Parade. But yeah, I hadn't really listened to Controversy much. I hadn't really even listened to 1999 too much, but picked that up, a nice copy on vinyl a while ago. And Sign of the Times is a record that pretty much changed my mind about Prince. When I say I liked Around the World and Parade, that came later. That wasn't in real time. I mean, I love the singles. Absolutely loved Raspberry Beret. And then next thing you see is a year later, he's doing Kiss. You know, the song Kiss, which I absolutely love. But at the time, I was always a little, I don't know, maybe a little annoyed he just didn't get back to doing the Purple Rain stuff and play guitar. That all changed when this record came out. This is the one where I just really started to be kind of in awe of him again. All the different styles. I think I have something for double records too. It's just, you buy it and you can just immerse yourself in it. And I bought a vinyl copy of this. I have an original pressing. And I didn't play it that much because at the time I was playing tapes. So I made a tape of it and I listened to that tape an awful lot, way more than I listened to vinyl. So the vinyl is like, there's not a scratch on it. It's perfect. I take good care of my records anyway. But my girlfriend has this remastered version, like 4 records. At first I thought it had all those extra songs that you would get on when it first came out. That's what I thought, because there's tons of it. There's like 3 CDs of extra songs. This vinyl version is a remastered version of the record, and then I don't know why they did this. The two extra discs are basically 2 extra records are like the club mixes and the extended mixes. Like, I would much rather have had full albums of all those unreleased songs, but they know what they're doing. Apparently they'll probably release that someday as something else. It's available though, super deluxe version of the CD. You can find those songs on streaming. So when this came out, re-released in 2016, I want to say, or right around that area, I dove in, or maybe in 2018. I dove right into all the extras, all those old songs, all those songs that never made a record. There's stuff that was supposed to be called Dream Factory, which was originally what this project started out as. It was going to be an album with a Revolution, but featuring the Revolution more. The first time that they were kind of involved in like lead vocals and stuff like that. And then he was also working on a record called Camille, which is basically him with a high pitch. If I Was Your Girlfriend was a song that was going to be on Camille. But yeah, he starts working on all this material and then breaks up the Revolution, turns in a three disc set to Warner Brothers called Crystal Ball, which Warner's balked at, said, we do not want to release 3 album set from you of new material. Can you whittle it down to a double record? Of course, Prince didn't really like this. Of course, these problems would continue, and Prince would eventually change his name to get out of the contract that he had with Warner Brothers, and it's a whole other story. But anyway, this album is he whittled down to a new, just double record, wrote a new song called Sign of the Times, put it out, and for me, it was like a playground of new Prince, and it was just like an abundance of material that was all very high quality and sometimes unexpected. And I think because of its length, I always recognized it as like a killer Prince record, but I wouldn't know it as well as maybe the album that came after it, Love Sexy, which I absolutely loved as well, or something as well as Parade or Around the World in a Day, which I got into more a few years after this, kind of going back. But this album, having not listened to it in quite a while, and having a remastered version and putting it on, God, I was just amazed by it. Super clean, sounds great. I think it has a little bit more, maybe more punch to it. I don't know. I didn't do an A/B comparison. You know, I don't think I would fall. I don't fall for these special releases. Just, I don't know. What usually if I have original press or something, I'm cool with it. But my girlfriend had this, so I played it, and I was very, very impressed. And more than that, it just got me back into this record. I love how things come around, right? I probably went, I mean, I know I listened to this after Prince died at least once, maybe twice. But it's been a long time since I've played it 3 times in a week, which I did this week. And to me, it's a fun record. Styles are all over the place, but yet maybe it's been out forever now, 30 some years, right? Maybe it's the fact that it's formed more of a piece in my mind, that it doesn't feel as jarring as maybe it did at one point. It's got some really great guitar songs that I think at the time, I was wanting him to get back to Purple Rain type stuff. Well, it's there on it. It's there on I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man. It's just it's a killer record, and it's been really fun to kind of reconnect with it. I also think it's a great record to just throw on a summer afternoon, which I plan on doing. So this, I think, makes the cut too, of just like pretty killer kind of summer record. Prince. Plus, well, if you stream it, you don't have to change it for a long time. If you put the vinyl on, I guess you're flipping it 4 times, but it's a great record. Prince, Sign of the Times from 1987. All right, the final one. I was talking to somebody. I have this R.E.M. Countdown that I did, all 15 of the records, 3 different videos, and then I think I have another one where I kind of set it up. I'm not done talking R.E.M. They're one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite. Some people, like, they automatically think of the Beatles whenever they think of music, or always going to be looking at some little news article that pops up, some little, review that's box set, or just a contemporary review, or somebody discussing something. I'm that way with R.E.M. I see their name, I'm going to pay attention. If I hear a band that sounds anywhere similar, it's probably going to cross my mind to think of them and how they compare to it. It's just the way I am. I got turned on to them at a very young age. Well, pretty young. I don't know. 14, 15, 14? 15. Anyway, no, 14. It doesn't matter. Anyway, talking to a guy on the messages for one of my videos, and he was talking about Reveal. I absolutely love Reveal, and I think he might have said it's such a good summer record, and I'm like, it's almost Reveal time. And it is. I can't really think of too many records, I mean, maybe the Beach Boys, where it's just, by default, it's about summer, It was written kind of with that intention. So anyway, I should probably show that record. It is Reveal, R.E.M. I mean, the cover, sometimes covers just don't do a record justice. You're like, why'd you put that on the cover? That doesn't have anything to do with the record. That kind of does. That looks like a kind of a pretty warm, bright summer day. This album is like a hazy, humid, hot, late afternoon kind of vibe to it. Stipe, when they recorded it, or when they were doing press for it or whatever, was saying that he wanted to do a record that you could throw on a dinner party and not have to change it because there's nothing that interrupts the flow. Yeah, this, I think, is the best sequenced R.E.M. record, and it is just screams summer. It's summerish lyrics, summerish titles. Summer Turns to High is one of them. Beach Boys one of them. He talks about flowers. He talks about insects, dragonflies. Favorite songs for me are I've Been High. Absolutely love that song. The very first time I heard it, which is before the record came out, there's some live version of Stipe with a boombox singing it, and it was wow, I like that a lot. And then also I just absolutely love Chorus in the Ring. Those are my 2 favorite songs off this record, but the whole thing flows very, very well. When they were recording it, Stipe would fly out to not remote areas, but they were recording in Europe, and he would go to other towns, other cities to fly somewhere, and when he got writer's block, and go to Italy, go to Rome, go to wherever, Barcelona, and finish writing, be in these very hot tropical locations in the summer. And you feel that. You really feel that in this record. It's also the record where they just kind of got back to basics a little bit. I mean, Up sounds like it was kind of a nightmare deal. There wasn't a lot of communication. But this one apparently was done much more organic, kind of using their hired help in more of a band way rather than kind of adding on the drum machines and all that stuff. And you feel it. I think it's a very good R.E.M. record. I think it's also very, very underrated. If you're one of those people that hopped off, especially if you hopped off like after New Adventures in Hi-Fi, give this one a shot. You're probably gonna really like it, especially in the summer. People have all different stages where they've stopped listening to R.E.M. or decided enough was enough. They didn't like where they were going, whether it was after Murmur or after Document or after Monster. Okay, I can kind of understand that one, at least at the time. After New Adventures, okay, the drummer quits. Okay, yeah, they're never going to be the same. Well, they still made some pretty good records, and Reveal is a really good one, and it's an excellent summer record. I think I'm going to go play it, and I think I'm going to have... I've got a Hefeweizen, which is kind of perfect for a day like today. So I think I'm going to go do that and enjoy the nice, beautiful Seattle weather.